Good evening and welcome to Girlfriend Minute. I am Shar.
And I'm Pascal.
It is 10:36 p.m. on
Oh,
August 31st.
it's the
Wow.
earliest we've ever started. How about
I
that?
I think well, except for having when we have Crystal on or Danny on.
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
usually those are on
those are
Thursdays.
special
Yeah,
nights. Yeah.
yeah,
So, but
yeah.
yeah, how exciting is that?
Oh my gosh, I know. We're getting earlier and earlier. I can't promise next week.
No, I can't either. I
No,
can't either. So, how are
yeah.
you today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Just here, busy at work. Had a raffle drawing today, and I got, one of the belly dancers to come in and draw the raffle. I mean, she was here anyway. So I was like, why don't you draw the raffle and we'll pull somebody in? And she did, and that went good, and I posted.
Very good.
So
Very
hopefully
good.
that'll bring in some meat. Come on, meat. Let's go. Somebody got to bite, right? Somebody has to bite it.
Right?
Yeah.
You're
How are
fishing.
you? I
I'm
know.
okay.
I know.
I'm okay. I'm
I know you
okay.
had a hard week this week, hard last couple of days. How's that going?
It was sad.
Oh, yeah, I'm
It
sure. I
was
bet
it
it
was
was.
sad. It was a long emotional week. My old boss came in to see me. She was my boss in the old building, and then she was also one of the upper supervisors in the new building. They had shifted who monitored who or supervised who, and then we moved
Okay.
into the new building back in 2009. And then, she's been with the clinic for 44 years. She started right out of high school and worked her way up. And over a year ago, a couple years ago, a year and a half ago, she switched to the countryside location and was only doing 4 days a week.
Okay.
Um, because she's getting closer to retirement. So
Well, yeah,
she,
she's been there a long time. My goodness.
yeah, so she didn't think she'd be able to get by to see us, but she walked through those doors and I happened to be standing there and I was just like, oh my gosh. And at one point, she got emotional, started to cry, and
Sure.
that's all it takes. And I start to cry, and
Right?
then Dr. McKenna's standing there talking to us, and he's trying to figure out what to do because now there's two women crying.
What am I to do with these women who are crying? Waterworks are happening.
And we tried to make the best of it, and there's nothing you can do. You can't stop what's happening, and I
Unfortunately, no.
absolutely have now learned to hate the saying, when one door closes, another opens.
Right?
You're
I
kidding
know.
me, right?
I know.
You think this is what that is?
Oh my gosh.
And I know people say it because they have nothing else to say. They don't understand what's going on and they're trying to be
No,
positive, but
they don't know
don't.
the ins and outs like you do. You know what
No,
I mean? You've been
just
there, you've done it, you've worked it, you've seen things. So, you
just
know,
don't. It's just, well, sometimes this will lead to better. Just stop. There were
right.
people planning on retiring there that were only in their 30s.
Wow.
They liked their job, they liked the setup, they liked the communication with the patients. They
Sure.
didn't always, granted, we liked each other and being coworkers and we worked well together and we liked our patients. Not to say that we didn't like what's been happening over the years to the clinic by the powers that be,
Of course.
by Guidewell, Florida Blue, and Sanitas, and all of them. JC Williams, Pat Garrity, I can name more. Um, but we stayed for the right reasons.
Right.
There is no other medical facility like ours in the area in the sense that we used to be one-stop shop. We
Mm-hmm.
had ortho, rheumatology, oncology, dermatology, we had them all. It was
Mm-hmm.
one-stop shop.
And
And
patients love that.
we had our labs. We had, everything was us. And they started not renewing contracts. They started letting doctors, and some doctors chose to leave because they were slightly spoiled and the financials were going to change because they owned shares, so they were
Sure.
spoiled.
Yeah.
But a little double dipping going on, which shouldn't have ever happened, but
Things
it
happen.
did.
Yeah.
Things happen, and for too many years you can't do that, and but they would get out of debt and then get back in debt and get out of debt and get back in debt. And but what is happening now is an entirely different animal.
Yeah.
And it's manipulating the public, and they don't know, they don't understand, they don't know how to research it.
Of course not.
And
because they haven't worked in it, so they don't know.
No,
They have no
they
idea.
don't know. And it's sad. There's no other facility like ours, in the sense that if in my area, which was the imaging area, if I had an issue with an order or something, I could just call the doctor. If they didn't answer, I could page them and they call me right back.
Yeah.
And one of our nurse practitioners, like she always called herself, and she's just so kind. She's like, "What did I do?"
What is it?
Yeah. I'm like, well, And,
well, I mean, thank God there's like people like you guys, because then you'll be able to, lead them to the right direction. Because I remember when I used to work in Medicare, we used to have to do claims like that because the physicians were doing them themselves and not writing the codes up properly. So it became a little bit difficult, but you guys are pretty much handling it. So.
Well, it's not even just that. I mean, I don't do billing or stuff. I just, I just do the imaging order. But if the code doesn't match the type of imaging, then we have a situation. Like,
yeah,
sometimes you'll get an outside order. These outside orders kill me. There's just, some of them are funny.
Yeah.
It's like, we would like a screening mammogram for this patient, and then they use a code for cervical.
Oh.
I'm like, yeah, those two things are not near each other, nor are they related in that sense. I got to call that doctor's office and be like, so. And they're like, how did that happen? I'm like, I don't know. It's not the first one from you. I'm not saying that either.
Yeah.
But yeah, here we are.
But here we are.
And then and then our doctors, they really weren't like that. But some things they had questions about and stuff. And because they don't handle certain things, and they don't handle the specifics of certain things with imaging. So it was unique. If you go to a bigger facility like BayCare, and BayCare is fantastic. There's good and bad in all facilities. BayCare just has the majority of good.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the least sued out of the county. It's comforting, isn't it? They have a lot of great doctors. They have a lot of great resources. They have over 30,000 employees. But the way that, because there's so many people, so many employees, they're not set up like us. There's not that personal touch. I could run to a doctor's office if I needed to. Sure. I would tell the patient, wait a minute, they must be rooming. I'm just going to run up there and wait. And they're like, oh, great, thank you. And I could run. It was just different. It was more personal. And what is happening is definitely not going to be personal. It's definitely not going to be a one-stop shop. And,
well, it's not going to be for everybody, from what I take from you.
It's not going to be for everybody. It is going to be one provider. They want it to be Florida Blue for the state of Florida. And they're funneling, I had a patient the other day, he came to me with a letter. It was dated July 19th, and it said, this doctor at the diagnostic clinic no longer accepts your insurance. I'm like, that's not true. She takes it until the end of August. So they then switched his doctor to a PCP without telling him, gave him the information at Sanitas. So now they're taking our patients and funneling them to where they want them to go.
Right.
And I told him, I said, if you don't want this and you want to stick with Dr. Todd, who's reopening in our building, you call them and you tell them. Yes. And he did right then and there in the lobby. He was pissed. Oh, and he told him, you don't change my doctor on me to who you think where you want me to go because of what you're doing. I mean, I explained it to him and he was angry, well, and if you don't know,
stealing.
It is. It's manipulation. I mean, these patients don't know. I don't know how I ended up over here. Well, well, they're telling me, no, they're not telling you anything. That's what you're hearing. When you pick your insurance, you get to pick your provider.
Correct.
Plain and simple.
Correct. And if you don't have a provider, then they assign one for you. But
they will assign one for you.
A lot of people already have their providers ready to go. So that's what I mean. I don't understand what they think that they're doing. I mean, it's blatantly like wrong what they're doing, but like you said, I mean, it is, and it's nothing that
I had that conversation with my coworker Addie, and she was born in Transylvania, Romania.
Yeah.
And raised, And she's like, I know communism when I see it. And that's exactly what this is. And I left there because of it.
Yeah, well, here we are.
And here we are. It followed you.
Yes.
So, people need to do their research and be aware of what's happening. And so I'm telling everyone. So one of my nurse practitioners paid me the best compliment. She's been at the clinic a long time. She started at Largo and she switched to Countryside a few years ago because she wants less hours, works 4 days instead of 5 days.
Okay.
She's getting closer to retirement, and it's also closer to home for her.
Sure.
And I posted tonight a bunch of pictures. I have more to add. I don't have them all. It won't let me upload them all at once, and I got to go add to it. But I'm running around telling everyone everything, and I don't really know what anyone's aware of what I'm saying to the patients and everyone. And I don't know if they're like, oh my gosh, I wish you just stopped. So I got a compliment. It said from Sue Sibley. It said, so glad I got to see you on Friday, Shar. You have done such a great job conveying the feelings of so many of us. Saying goodbye to the diagnostic clinic. Thank you, Shar. The best wishes to you.
Oh, that's sweet.
It is sweet.
Yeah.
Because
she's been there a long time, so
she's been there a long time. She does know. And, I don't know if these I don't
hypocrites?
know who thinks, no, I don't know what my doctors and stuff think and know what I'm doing and saying, I bought a chair. We were entitled to buy an item, and I bought a desk chair for my son, and $20. It's like a brand new chair. No one hardly ever sat in it, and it's been there like a year and a half. So for $20, he got a new chair. So one of my doctors, Dr. Van Koosley, is leading the third floor clinic, which is going to be called Community Care Diagnostic Clinic, because he's like, it's going to have diagnostic clinic in the name. He succeeded. So
he did. Good for him.
He was like, hey, if you can add anything to your order, I'll just give you the cash and pay for it.
Yes.
Because I was standing right there next to him, and he asked Lynn about buying some of the other furniture for the new third floor.
Sure.
And good old Tracy Williams. Hi, Tracy. I know you like to watch my Blue community page. That's fine. And talk about your big meetings. Enjoy.
Yes.
Yeah. So she's the one that terminated us. So she comes out of her office, which, by the way, she lives in Jacksonville. She's hardly in the building a few times a year. These yahoos are hardly in the building, but a few times a year. And, they think they know the community and stuff. And my goal is to make sure that they don't win, that they don't succeed in my community.
No, because they sit behind their beautiful big ass desk, and then they're not actually the ones that are putting the work into anything. And then they dictate to the people.
Well, she gets a big paycheck.
Well, yeah.
Plain and simple.
Of course she does.
She comes out and she tells Dr. Van Koosley, well, we have attorneys and everything has to be run through them, and, and blah, blah, blah. And she's just, blowing smoke.
So what's the difference if you buy it versus the difference that he buys it? They're still getting money that way.
They're controlling. Why? They're angry that he succeeded, and the 7 of my doctors have succeeded in opening another clinic in the same building. He's like, he's handing me money, and I'm like, well, and then, and poor Lynn, she's just sitting there, and because she's the administrative assistant going, oh, good Lord, just give them the furniture. Who cares?
Right, exactly.
Some are being donated, she's blah, 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 blah.
Being donated where? Just give it to him. Come on.
She's just,
stop being petty.
So then she's like, we have cameras and we're watching in Jacksonville. Oh, are you?
Sorry.
Please.
Excuse me.
Please. When did the cameras, I guess you could get the same app and log in or something. Are you really watching from Jacksonville? I don't buy it, seeing how most of the cameras don't work. They work around the desk areas and stuff. They don't typically all work, though.
Yeah, wow.
They're kind of decorative,
They're just like, here we are, pay attention. That's about it.
Then she tells him, and nothing can leave the building. It's like, well, nothing's leaving the building. It's going from, say fourth floor to third floor.
Correct.
And then she's like, and you can't be in the building over the weekend. He's like, no, I have my own lease. I have my own key. I have painters and IT coming in. I will be in the building Wait, you don't own the building, Tracy. Guidewell does not own the building. Sanitas does not own the building. Florida Blue does not own the building. You are renters. You lease.
Correct.
Hold on a second.
Okay, no problem.
So sorry about that. I have a
That's
barking
okay.
dog. He decided to open the plantation shutters, decided to bark at who knows what at this hour.
Sure.
And I have sleeping babies. Milani's a light sleeper.
Yes,
Her
we do
mother's
not want
working.
them
Their
to
mother's
wake.
working tonight. Yeah, so I was like running. I'm like, no.
No.
So, it's just she thinks she's trying to put him in his place, and she just sounds absolutely ridiculous and
Yes.
uneducated on how it's going to work.
Right. She doesn't know her entire business, hence
No,
why
which
she's
is not
injecting
our
you.
business.
Correct. Exactly.
So yeah, it's been emotional. People have been up, and I think she was nasty to Dr. Brebnick, is what the rumor is in the building. And Dr. Brebnick's like, I resigned, and the other rumor's like, no, she's told to say I'm resigned, but she was terminated. And I don't know. I heard one of the nurses say they heard, whatever she said to Dr. Brebnick, and Dr. Brebnick then said she pretty much conveyed our thoughts and feelings, everyone's thoughts and feelings. And the first thing she said is, I've been very professional through all this, and you are not.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because she remains calm. She doesn't get real angry, and she's kind of listens to what you're saying, and then she processes. She's processing it and stuff, and then she's gonna tell you.
And then she dictates to whatever she wants to happen.
So
Yeah. Well.
it's been some interesting moments, and definitely dirty business, and I'm gonna beat a hound dog. Hold on a second. I'm gonna bring him here.
Yeah. No problem.
So Murphy will be our co-host, our guest for tonight.
Hi, Murphy.
He's looking at me like, I don't know why'd you call me in here, Mom.
Exactly.
You have a big hound mouth.
Because we're barking away.
Yeah. Then he goes and reopens the shutters I closed.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, I'm going to bark some more. Mur, just lay down. So anyways, it's been a long week.
You still got to be there a couple more days, right?
I have to show up Tuesday, show my face. We don't clock in or clock out. They're going to pay us like we're there and get our holiday pay for Monday.
Okay.
So my 7 doctors are opening a clinic in the clinic.
In the clinic.
Clinic within a clinic. And
Yes.
I got a job offer from them Wednesday afternoon.
Okay.
So that was nice in the sense that I already had a job offer at another imaging facility that the thought of going was making me nauseous. I did not want to go. It's a conveyor belt of imaging.
Yeah, and that's not how you want to do business.
No, it's not. I don't want to participate in it. So my CAT scan tech works there, and she's like, I'm always behind because they schedule every CAT scan for 10 minutes, even though it's 30 minutes. This one could be 30 minutes. This one can be 15 minutes.
Absolutely. Depends on what it is.
So she's always behind. So then she gets overtime, and she was really, this is the most fulfilling job in the beginning and all this overtime, blah, blah, blah. And so I asked her the other day on the phone and said, so how long before you burn out? She's like, I don't know.
Tomorrow.
She's no longer, right? She's no longer singing the praises like she was a week and a half ago. And she's only been there like, I don't know,
2
end
weeks.
of June.
Oh, end of June, yeah.
She got an offer right away, and she went because that company wants to come in and rent our space. And I tried to schedule one of our patients for a PET scan this week. I was trying to get them scanned this week for reasons. And, they're like, this is a 30-minute scan. I'm like, it is not. This is not a 30-minute scan, dear. This is you got to be injected, and the tracer takes 30 minutes.
Well, I was going to say, aren't there guidelines?
There are.
Excuse me. I'm
but
saying, yeah, there's got to be guidelines.
there
I
are.
mean, how do they
At
not
our
know?
facility, we schedule a PET scan for 2 hours. It's a 30-minute tracer. It's the scanning, and
Mm-hmm.
then there's some post-processing. So it's from A to Z. It's not in 30 minutes. She's like, well, I said, no, no, look again.
I've been doing this a long time, honey. Look again.
Then she's like, oh, I need to get you to someone else who schedules those. Yeah, but she kept calling it a CAT scan. I'm like, you're not listening. PET
It's
scan.
right. You've already
CAT
told
scan.
her.
She would come. I said, no, no, PET, PET, PET.
Yes.
It's a PET CT, but it's a PET scan.
Right. It's a different type of scan than
Correct.
just a regular CT scan.
Correct. It's also a different machine.
Was she not? Well, I know. Was she not getting it? Like,
She just need to not even be answering the phone. And I hate to
no.
sound like that, and I'm so sorry, but me as a person, I always like to put my best foot forward and always look like I know what I'm doing. And if I didn't, I wouldn't be trying to sell it to someone.
Well, you got to be knowledgeable at your job, especially when it comes to those things. This is like somebody's life
It
in
is
your hands.
somebody's
Can you
life.
imagine setting up a PET scan for somebody who was just going in for a regular CT scan? As soon as you hear PET scan, you automatically think of, oh my God, cancer.
Yeah, it's not used just for cancer.
Right, I know, but like most of the people, they know like a PET scan is for that.
Originally, in the
But
beginning, I think it was more geared towards that, and it became
yeah,
beneficial as they tweaked and figured things out and whatnot. And
sure, sure. But can you imagine as a patient, like what is going on right now? That's
yeah,
very difficult. You got to be knowledgeable at your job to know exactly what, scan that your patient needs.
yeah, you got to
And you got
know.
to listen, especially
You got.
when somebody like you is telling her three times over, pet, P-E-T,
Yeah.
pet, like, arf, arf, pet, meow, meow, pet,
Right.
that.
Right. Yeah. I just was sitting here going, I don't feel good about doing this. I was just like, so I had a job offer there, and I did my TV test and stuff because I didn't know if I was going to get a job offer at the new clinic because they weren't sure what the needs were going to be. And I know everyone had applied, and I know that included everyone at those doctors that are starting that new clinic that work their desk already. I do not work their desk. They do not know me except in computer messages through
Yeah.
patients' charts. So they don't know how I work. They don't know how I am. I mean, my gosh, my coworkers like, you have to hire her. You have to take her. You have to. It was so nice to hear and know that
It is
I'm
because,
appreciated. Yeah.
you do your job very well.
But it's nice to know that I am appreciated, and it was nice to have so many people support in trying to get me hired there. So it came in the last end, and so then I sent my email to that place, and my other I have two coworkers that work there, and they just came up to her and they're like, Char's not coming. And
Goodness, what
Megan's
did she
like,
say?
yes, what she said. Well, I had called her that night and finally told her. Well,
Yeah.
everything happened quickly. I was given the offer on the Wednesday afternoon. I responded, and then it's like, I need you to report to the building to see me
Right.
um, sooner than later for paperwork and stuff. So Thursday after work, I drove all the way to St. Pete to meet this lady that was doing all the hiring for them, the
Mm-hmm.
paperwork and stuff. And um, did 30 minutes of paperwork, and then got up early Friday morning and went to Northside Hospital. There's a building next door, and did a urine drug test. So
Yeah.
I I was rushing within 48 hours to get everything done because I'm supposed to start Wednesday.
Okay. Well, I mean, luckily you got that job offer, so
So
thank God for
I
that.
I feel better. I'm not scheduling imaging, so I'll miss that.
Mm-hmm.
I have worked doctors' desks. I've worked all of them: oncology, pain management, ENT. I've worked them all. And so it'll be weird doing that again because I haven't done it in so
Yeah.
long,
Yeah.
But um I'll miss the imaging part of it, and
Sure, of course.
it's a little more involved, and I like that.
Hmm.
So, but
Okay,
yeah.
well, I mean, that's good. One less thing to have to worry about. And
Oh,
at least you're not
definitely.
going to be stressed and, like you said, working an assembly line. So,
Yeah, I'm not going to be working in the assembly line.
yeah.
I didn't feel good about any of that.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I didn't feel good about any of that. And I feel better. I feel
Hmm.
better. Um, you know,
Well, good. At least
just
you're in the same building and, you know, you're going to be up there with the people who need you. So that's good.
yeah. So it's gonna be interesting because uh we don't have computers or anything yet, and they have 60 patients their first day they're in the new clinic.
Whoa. That's crazy, but that's a
Yeah,
good thing. It's a
it is a
good
good
thing.
thing. It is a
Yeah.
very good thing.
Yeah,
It is a
that's
very
great.
good thing,
That's awesome.
So yeah, 60 patients between the three doctors.
Hmm.
So
It's gonna be all day.
it is. There's painting going on, I believe, this weekend in IT, and they're setting up stuff. So we'll have computers. It's supposed to be the exact same ECW I worked in.
Okay.
I just from there, I don't know what the flow and all of that's going to be, and so
Okay. I'm sure you'll get back into it quickly.
I'm sure. They're supposed to come and do orientation with the three of us that'll be starting there. So
So you'll be
um,
starting then when next Wednesday?
Wednesday the 4th, after I
Wednesday
report
the
to the
4th.
clinic the 3rd. Yeah,
Okay. Oh, so you have off on Monday, Labor Day.
I do. I do.
Nice.
Yeah, they timed it. We'll make this the end, and then they can get over it in a few days.
Ah, ah. You haven't been getting over it for what, a year now that they've been talking about this or more? Come on.
Well, they've been talking about it. We were told about it June 18th that we were
Yeah.
done. So they've been talking about it well over a year. Well over a year.
Yeah,
Few
of
years
course. Of
easily. Well,
course.
they
Yeah.
notified the state of Florida a few years ago
Oh,
easily.
yeah, you
So,
have to. Yeah, they
you
have to.
know, yep, they have to. So,
That's, oh, well, what are you gonna do? I mean, thank God you have somewhere else to go and your mind doesn't have to be all over the place, and that's the most important thing. And for you to um, be more relaxed at your job, as far as, knowing your duties and things like that. So,
it's
not to
it's
say that
definitely.
it takes away from the emotional aspect. It
Oh
most
no,
certainly does
yeah.
not.
It does
But
not. No.
yeah,
It'll be weird to walk in that building and not head straight back behind the glass to my
of
cubicle
course.
and
Yeah,
to get on that elevator and have to go to the third floor.
I know. I know.
And I never went to the third floor before.
No, it's going to be a new experience.
I mean, I've been now, but
Yeah.
we moved into that building in 2009. They used to give us tours of it through the stages of it being constructed, which was neat
Uh-huh.
to see it all come together. And then when it was done, we got to go and peek on each floor. Well, the third floor is set up entirely different than the other floors.
Oh, okay.
On the other floors, you pop off the elevators, you go left or right, and you're heading towards a waiting room with a big desk with check-in and those doctors in that pod, that area.
Sure.
Third floor is a long hallway with suites off of it. It's totally different.
Ah, okay.
And so we're at
So
this side.
nobody to greet you. Yeah.
I'm not sure which door, but it's down that way.
Okay. All right.
And it's pretty big. I've actually been through it, and it's like we're on 4 or 5 bathrooms, and it's pretty big. But their
Okay.
goal, though, they said, is to get back to the fourth floor where they currently are
Okay.
and expand. So we'll see.
Yeah.
60 on the first day is a pretty good start.
It is a pretty good start. Absolutely. And they'll
So
expand before you know it. They're going to need it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hope
The way they're
so. I
going, they're
hope
going to
so.
need it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
good. That gives you time to, do your other goals that you have on your beautiful list. So that's
yeah, I'm
awesome.
working on it. I'm working on
Yeah.
it. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm excited for you. I'm excited. I was excited to hear that you didn't have to go to that other place. And I was happy for you, at least one thing off of
Thank
your
you.
mind. So
It
yeah,
is, it is. And I'm comfortable. I know the
exactly.
doctors to a degree, and I'll get to know them better, but
Absolutely.
and I'm going back to my building, which is a huge thing.
Sure. Of course. Of
It's a
course.
huge thing,
It is. It is.
So,
Yeah.
you
What do
know,
you got for us this week?
I put, does age matter in a relationship?
Okay. What do you think? I'm going to ask you first this time.
Oh, you think you're being sneaky.
I am being sneaky. You're up first. Do you think age matters in a relationship?
God, you want me to be honest?
Well, I mean, you have to be. It is your podcast, isn't it? So,
Well, whatever. Be like that, I see.
uh,
There's a yes and no to that.
yeah.
You know, my parents were 9 or 10 years apart in age, and that's burned and crashed, but that was because he was an alcoholic.
Yeah.
My oldest sibling, her and her husband are 9 or 10 years apart in age. They're still together, but are they the best? No, they're not.
Hmm.
Um, so
Like who's older?
he is.
He
The
is.
men have been
Okay.
always, yeah.
Always
So
been the older.
like for him, he's a marine engineer, and then she just kind of does whatever. She doesn't have any hobbies or any interests of her own, where he's a little more social and outgoing. Pretty much no one likes her. And
Oh.
so,
Ah, ouch.
she has more
Ouch.
of, he has more of, oh, it's true. I have them tell me, you're so
Yeah.
different than your sister. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what
Yeah.
happened to her.
Yeah. She
um,
fell off the bed a couple times.
right. Landed upside down.
Yes, hit her head.
You know, yeah, Colette and I used to talk about that, my deceased sister. She just, I don't know. So, if the wind blows, her hair can't be out of place. So you marry someone who wants to be on a boat and fish all the time. We
Right.
don't fish, we don't snorkel, we don't scuba dive, we don't do any of that stuff. So I think it really comes down to common interests, and the age will vary. If you have nothing in common, and it's just exciting and new in the beginning, I think it's going to fade fast and hard to keep it together.
Yes, I agree with that.
Um, and then and here's the medical side of it. Depending on how much older, you need to remember that's based on their health, someone's going to have to be cared for.
Yeah.
And someone has to, well, in any relationship, someone goes first. So the age thing doesn't matter in that sense.
Right.
That can be anything.
Anytime. Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Any
definitely
age.
say now, where I'm at in life, I probably would have picked someone more mature.
Mm-hmm.
And there's definitely a thing of, in theory, I would think, and I've had people comment and say they just were more mature. They
Yeah.
were set in their career and
I feel like
life,
that's important in a relationship too, as well.
and it is. And or it's a big dark cloud for a long, long time. You know. And that's hard.
It is.
So I think it varies on several different things.
Mhm.
As I've gotten older, no, not because I'm 51, just as I've gotten older and matured and have had experiences, I get it. I understand. I used to think, oh my God, 10 years older than me, yuck. Yeah.
Right?
I no longer
Me
think
too.
that.
Me too. I used to be just like that. I'm like, ew.
And
I'm
that's
not
our
trying to
immaturity,
do anything. Yeah, it is. It
you
is.
know.
It is.
So, I does it? I think to some degree it does. And there were people that chimed in both ways about it. So
Hmm.
it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, let's see. I have always been the oldest one in any of my relationships, believe it or not.
She's a
And
cougar.
I know, but it's not really like 10 years. It's only been ever like 5 years or 3 years or something like that. So it's not like a large amount. And who's to say what a large amount is? To each person, it's different.
Yes.
Um, for me, in my relationships, I've always had where the guy would be like, "Oh my gosh, you have so much more energy than I do," and they're like 5 years younger than me. I'm like, "Really?"
Yeah.
Like, are you
Well, that's because
serious?
they're drinking.
I, they're doing something. I have no idea what they're doing.
Do we ever?
And yeah, and I've had ones who were younger than me that were set in their life where they actually were self-employed, had a business, had things going for them. So it wasn't like they were just losers, or they were just kind of looking for a sugar mama, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, to take care of them.
Yeah.
So for me, in that sense, age to me, 5 years up, 5 years down doesn't really matter to me. Now, if I, like you said, because we're a little bit older and we have different experiences in our life, I would probably pick somebody a bit older than me. Just because, like you said, the maturity level. I don't think guys hit that maturity level at, uh, at all. I mean, I had to stutter there for a minute,
Yeah,
okay?
but
So
there are a lot of guys that are still older than us that are pretty immature. I mean, there's a difference between
they
being
are.
funny and being mature.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Exactly.
and on Facebook, because of social media, you're gonna run into them more.
You are, yeah. And so, to me, I mean, to me, I could probably, I don't know, find a 24-year-old right now that maybe has his crap together. Maybe he has his crap together more than a 55-year-old or a 60-year-old for that matter. You know what I mean? And why not?
Yeah.
To me, it doesn't matter. I don't care. Why not? As long as you have your stuff together, you're matured, you know how to talk to someone, you're not causing a fight, or you're not trying to take my money, then I'm down, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but like I said, all my relationships have ever always been younger than me. I haven't really found anybody older than me or the same age as me.
Yeah.
Um, but it can be, like you said, it could matter and it couldn't matter. So I don't know. To each his own. I mean, what do the comments say?
So, the first one is someone just simply wrote yes. Someone else wrote, probably after a certain age gap number, the power dynamic does not play well. I think for me, the gap should be between 0 and 10. And there were a few more yeses. And then this one I liked a lot. This one says, my parents are 14 years different in age. Mom being younger, she had always said it never mattered when they were younger. It started to matter when dad retired and she was still working. I've heard that a few times.
Yes.
Um, Dad got dementia, and at this point, he has major pros and cons. She is now a caregiver and not really a spouse. I think it depends on the dynamic. As a child of them, I see the pros and cons throughout my life, and I believe a 5-year difference is all I want. I said that's basically why I was asking, because you're young and in love, you don't realize you may end up being the caregiver and dedicate a huge amount of your life to being the caregiver, and then you can become resentful. I
Correct.
actually had a patient that I had a hard time dealing with because she was angry at her husband because he was so much older, and I want to say it was more like 17 years age difference,
Okay.
and she was definitely, looking for the sugar daddy. And I had he bought me this beautiful ring, blah blah blah, but gosh, if he's he had something going on medically, and she's just like, it's exhausting, I can't take it anymore. And other people knew them in the building too, and they're like, she's just mean to him because he's old.
And it
And
can
he
be
has,
exhausting.
yeah, well
It
then get
can
a
be.
facility, get a caregiver, but don't berate and belittle and condescend, you
No,
know.
not at all. Of course not. You
um
shouldn't be doing that. You chose to be with this person. So
yeah,
obviously there was a reason that you chose to be with
well,
this
it was the
person.
jewelry.
Materialistic. Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
And then this person responded with very true regarding the feelings of resentment. She's in counseling to deal with the grief, life changes and everything. Having support is vital.
It is vital. My parents
Yeah.
were 15 years apart. Um, Now, my parents, I mean, I am 51 right now. So my parents in their time and their era was slightly a little bit different, only because culturally, for myself, it's a little bit different. Um, their generation was always taught the woman who is younger should find an older gentleman, um, like you had mentioned earlier,
Common.
because
All of
yes,
us, I think. Yeah.
yes, because they have a career, they're set in their life, they've made a home, and they're set, and now they're ready to be married.
Yeah.
They're finished playing the field, I guess. Okay.
In
And
theory.
my In theory, yeah.
Yeah.
My parents didn't really have any issues as far as relationship go, but I did see like later on in life where my mom was always taught, like you're a stay-at-home housewife. And very similar to here, in the United States too, where they used to be housewives. The man goes out,
Yep.
does the job, brings the bread home, and the wife takes care of the house and the kids and everything. Um, Later on, she got tired. She
Oh,
got
it gets
tired.
tiring. Yeah.
I mean, she wasn't the only one having to deal with the medical issues. She had us to help her children, to
Hmm.
help her out with all of that stuff. But after a while, it gets tiring. You get up, you're making food. He wants to eat. He wants coffee. He wants this. He wants that. Laundry needs to be done. Things like that. It gets tiring. But
You feel like you're here just to serve?
correct,
Hmm.
correct. But I feel like, in another sense, that their relationship kind of got a little bit stronger, um, towards the end, because, and I'm saying the end because my mom passed away. So, um, where they would sit, he would go and he would sit with my mom and they would talk, or they would watch, like, like a Lebanese Arabic soap opera together, and stuff like that. So it was more of a conversational time for them,
Hmm.
after a while. But then again, my dad is not really like a person to get mad and angry quickly and any of that
Well,
stuff.
and also, this is true, and this proves that it can be. You said there's how much of an age gap? 15 years?
15, yeah.
Okay. She's younger.
She's younger,
She
yes.
had the health issues first. It's not
Correct.
necessarily that the older person's going to have the health issues. And I realize that. So when I ask the question, I should probably word it differently, because my nurse friends are like, this can happen with any age difference. Well, yes, it can. Obviously, it can. I've seen people 5, 6 years younger than me who need lung transplants.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen, I mean, so I know
It
it can happen
varies.
at any age, and that's a genetic thing. So, um,
But my
yeah.
father was also, he had medical issues too as well. Not as much as her. She had more, of course. But he was just a lot older and kind of a little bit more slower, than like my mom would want something done rapidly, and he was just, living his life, enjoying his life. You know what I mean? So it's
Doing his
like,
thing.
yeah, doing his thing. And my mom's like, come on, let's go, let's do this, get me that, let's go. And
Yeah.
it would just be something like groceries or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. And
But I think
so,
they had more conversations,
well, near the
as they
end, I'm
got
sure.
older. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It changes. The
yeah,
kids are gone. There's stuff happening.
it does. I mean, if
Um,
I met somebody right now who is younger than me, probably 10 years would be the most that I would go. I don't think I would go any further than that. When you go further than that, he just becomes a boy toy. So, and that's it. Um, for
well,
me, from my perspective, okay? But it could be for others different. I mean, look
yeah.
at Madonna, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Well,
got money and they're in the thing. And Cher, she has a younger boyfriend and she's still kicking it at, I don't even know how old she is. Is she kicking 80 or what? What's
I don't
happening with
know
her?
how old she is. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
they all have younger boyfriends, but they go through them because they're actors and stuff. We're a little bit different.
we're
Um,
real.
we're real, yeah.
I mean, come
It's
on, Cher's had a
reality.
little bit of work done.
Ugh, just a tiny bit,
Because
yeah.
gravity
Same
always
with
wins.
Madonna. Yeah, same with Madonna.
Sorry. I don't care how
Yes,
good your genetics are. Gravity does
right.
win.
Yeah. Yeah, so for me, I think maybe 10 years down. And he would have to be the kind of go get him type of guy. Like I would want him to bring something to the table, I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to have to be his sole giver.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
So I
that's
had
when for
a
me it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me.
So I had an old coworker. We used to work together at the credit union. She now works medical. She's like, this can happen at any age difference. All it takes is one medical diagnosis to change the course of everything. I say if
Yes.
two souls connect, they connect. My parents had a 16-year age difference, and they were married 50 years before my father passed away. If you were to ask my mom today, would she do it all over again? Her answer would be yes. My father passed away in 2008, and she has never been with anyone else.
Yeah. That's how it goes for us too. Like we don't really like if somebody passes away, no matter what age, they really don't go to remarry again or be with anyone else again. And I don't know if that's that stipulation that culture puts on them,
Yeah.
like you're a widower now, like, I don't know. Like when I had my child, my mother immediately was like, well, who's going to want you now? Like you have a child. Who's going to
Yeah.
marry you? That's that old fashioned thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays it's not so much like that anymore.
No.
You have a child, it's okay, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So,
actually, I just had a vehicle that said just married, okay?
mm-hmm.
And they were an older couple. Both of them were
Oh,
an older couple.
that's
And so
sweet.
I was like, oh, that's awesome. That gives me
Yeah.
hope.
Well, they found each other. Yeah. Sometimes, that happens a lot too. I
Yeah.
mean, I know several people that, yeah. So,
Sometimes like you said, it'll take that maturity for you to get to a certain age to be able to find that person that kind of complements you.
yeah. Yeah. So one of my coworkers wrote, so I was doing an AWV on an 84-year-old patient. Seems very with it. Aced the memory test. Has a very nice Bel Air address and a wife who's 54.
Wow, that's
84
a
and 54. That's a
big
big gap.
age gap. Yeah.
hmm When I asked if he was a victim of abuse, he hesitated and lifted his head. Her handprint was bruised into his neck. Yes, we made the report. You could tell he was fun, but starting to fail. 84 years old, He admitted she'd thrown him down the stairs. In this case, yes, one of my best friends has been married for 17 years to a guy who's 17 years younger than her. And they're totally happy, and their kids call me Aunt. And so that conversation went on. And then
See,
I
that
had
makes it difficult. That makes it difficult because when you're in your prime at 53, you said
54.
54, you're in your prime. You're not expecting to have to care for someone who is that much older than you. But
Well,
then
what did
here
they
I
think
say,
was going to happen? I
yeah,
mean,
like
you
why
got to
did you
have
get
common
married to
sense.
him?
You
Yeah,
sit there, he's older. And if you're 54 and he's 84, there's a thing as old, middle-aged, and young. So
exactly.
you
Exactly.
knew, you
Exactly.
knew. You were just after the nice house in Bel Air,
Yeah, exactly. Well,
you
my
know.
uncle, I think he's pushing, I think 78, maybe 79, and his wife is 37. And she's sick and tired of it. I'm sorry, but she is. He's got a lot
Well,
of
he's a
health issues
player,
right now. He
isn't
is,
he?
but she's got a lot of health issues. I mean, not her, him.
Him.
He has a lot of health issues, and it just gets to be the same routine over and over and over again. Nothing's happening new. And she's 37, and I'm thinking to myself, why? Like, why? What did you think was going to happen?
Well, yeah, you're going to
Did
be the
you think,
caregiver. You're
right?
going to be
Did you
changing
think
his
you
diaper.
weren't?
I mean,
It,
at some point, you got to
just
have common
saying,
sense.
just
I mean,
saying.
if she's 34 and she thought, I'm so shocked, no, then you're stupid.
I
Sorry.
think I think he's older than her dad.
Yeah, that's just,
Like, ew,
what does a 34 and someone who's pushing almost 80 have in common?
absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean,
that's
literally, absolutely
absolutely
nothing.
nothing. Yeah.
I mean, not in the bedroom, not outside of the bedroom,
Would you
not
want to?
anywhere else. Oh, no,
No. No. You know.
no.
Someone else wrote, nope, hubby's 13 years younger than me. Been together 31 years.
Yeah, in some relationships it really works. So it all depends on the person
Oh, absolutely.
or the people.
Absolutely. Yeah. Someone else wrote, I prefer to be with someone closer to my age who is active and healthy.
Because you can experience life together. When you experience life together with that person, it makes it so much better. And like you said, you have to have things that are, similar and common. I mean, not everything, because not everybody has the
Well, everyone's
same.
different. You got to be
Yeah, not
different
everybody
too.
has the same, but you have to have those things that kind of bring you together as a unit,
Yeah.
to be able to survive or to be able to go through life together. I
Yeah.
agree
I
with
mean,
that one. I really do.
like I said, my oldest sibling and her husband are about 10 years apart, 9 or 10 years, and they don't have anything in common.
Correct.
You
Correct.
know,
Yeah.
she, again, if the hair's out of place or anything like that, and, you know, he used to always be in the water. So, I mean, she was,
Total opposites.
well, yeah, she never went. I mean, she went in the beginning when they were young and first married, but it ended quickly. She stopped going, didn't want to be bothered,
Hmm. Hmm.
all of that. It was a rarity to see her on the boat, because the hair gets out
Yeah.
of place.
No, God forbid. How
Yeah,
fun
God
would that
forbid.
be? I would love that.
you know?
I would
So,
love that. Being on the water, being on the boat with somebody that I love. Like, come on. That's amazing. In a state that has sunshine all the time, you know? But who
well,
knows what happens behind closed doors? That
okay, well,
people never. No, I mean like in their home, people
yeah.
never
Well,
understand people's lives because you can you can have a persona outside and show people your side, okay, a specific side when you're out socially, but then when you're behind closed doors, it could be like a totally different thing. It could be like you're at each other's throat, or get away from me, or
well, they're
you go
definitely
there,
not a
I'll go
good
there.
match. He talked about divorcing her for years.
Yeah,
And he kind of leads his own life in the sense that he belongs to leagues and is out on certain nights, and she doesn't want to participate or go through those. And
he's very
so
social. Yeah.
and she's kind of a stick in the mud. Well, and he also thinks he's something special, but he's not. So,
Yeah, well,
that,
there's
but
that too.
I know. And people think, oh, you're being mean. No, I've lived with them and got to witness several different things over the years. And I'm just like, ugh, both of you.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I think um, he would tell everyone, I'm going to divorce her. Close friends, me, his children, their
Yeah.
children. Yeah. And we had a mutual friend who's wealthy, and they're just like, he can't divorce her. He can't afford to. She knows where everything is in that business. She runs it.
Oh, see, there's that too, where you get
There's that.
intertwined with
Yeah.
other things in the relationship. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, he could, but he just doesn't want to be poor.
No, of course not.
And he's
Of
being
course not.
older, so how old am I? I'm 51, so she's 12 years older than me.
Hmm.
Wow.
Wow, yeah.
She's 63.
Yes.
So, wow, he's like early 70s.
Yeah, but look at him. He's social. He's still a social
I
butterfly going
I have
out
no
doing
idea.
things.
I have not seen them in 10 years. I have no idea if he's still social or not.
Yeah. Yeah, that was back in the day.
Yeah, it was bad. It was.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it does to a degree matter. I see both sides of it. You can be 9 or 10 years apart and have a lot of things you connect and a lot of things you like to do together,
Yeah.
that you wouldn't have expected. So I
Hmm.
think it varies. You just have to know that if they have medical issues, you are going to be the primary caregiver. Either way,
Right, exactly.
you
Exactly. No
know.
matter what. And sometimes you could be married in your 20s and just be a couple months apart. And
Yeah.
then somebody tragically has some kind of medical issue that
Mhm.
has to be taken care of. So age can be significant in certain things.
Yeah.
But nobody knows how long they're here on Earth.
No. No.
So, and that, but except in the matter of when you're 30 and he's 70, I mean, what do you think is going to
Yeah,
happen? Come on.
right.
Did you
Right.
think you weren't going to take care of him after you
Yeah.
married him, or because he was out and showing you, the greatest life and the greatest entertainment and giving you rings and giving you all this stuff? But does that really all matter? To some people, it does, unfortunately.
Well, to some it does.
Yeah.
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 You know,
But,
I knew someone that her husband was 20 years older than her. And by time she found that out, I mean, she was
hmm
young. They were married a long time. She was young. Um, she wanted children and he just I don't remember why he wasn't having children. It's been a while.
yeah. Well, that's another factor.
Yeah, that is another factor. But everyone's like, well, if you wanted children, why did you go ahead and marry him? And she was
Exactly.
like, I was already in love with him. So she loved him more than the idea of actually having children.
Okay.
I mean, she had to have. When he passed away, because he was 20 years older, it affected her not in a good way. I mean, don't get me wrong. When anyone passes away, it doesn't affect you in a good way.
No.
In her case, though, it was pretty extreme. She would drive around with an 8x10 picture of him fastened into the seatbelt in the passenger seat.
Oh, wow.
She had a hard time. I felt bad for her because that's all she ever knew
hmm
was him. And now here she is at the age where she could travel and stuff, and she didn't have him to travel.
And
She
that's the thing.
sold her business and stuff, and he was gone. And she's like, who am I going to travel with? I don't have any kids. I don't have any family, immediate family. It was it took a toll on her.
Yeah, you become
And
alone.
it was very disturbing that she so much so could not stand to be without him that she buckled in an 8x10 of them and was driving around like
Like he
she was
was there.
upset, like he was there. She was so obsessed. I mean, it was very obsessive. It wasn't, oh, that's sweet. It's like, okay, have a picture in your wallet.
Or at home. Yeah.
Yeah, right. On the wallet, you don't see it fastened in the
Right.
passenger
Not
seat.
fastened into the
But
passenger
everyone
seat.
was really concerned. Like they got her into therapy and stuff. She struggled with it because again, she was completely left alone.
hmm Yeah, that's a
And
big factor when you when
you
you end up
know,
marrying somebody like that.
so didn't have kids, didn't have any of that. She was ready to travel.
hmm
And he had a massive heart attack or something. He went quickly. I mean, he
Oh my
declined quickly
goodness.
from there. So, and he was 20 years older. So,
Yeah,
when
that's
she sold her
unfortunate.
shop, she was in her early to mid 60s and he was 20 years older.
Yeah, now she's ready to get on her escapades and has nobody to unfortunately do it with.
Yeah, and she was, she really was struggling. I felt bad for her because she truly loved him.
Yeah,
She truly loved him and they had a
yeah.
good life together, but him passing away just
Yeah, it doesn't have the best effect on you, especially when, your significant other passes. It's just not the, especially when you're alone and you don't have anybody outside of that person.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
But
different if you had friends and you had, your children and you had something like you can move on and get past that. But if you have no
yes.
one, that's very difficult. That's very hard. No wonder. No
Yes.
wonder she was like that. She didn't have anybody, unfortunately.
No, she didn't. And yeah, I mean, she made her choices and she knows that.
Yeah, she did.
But she loved him. She loved him. She truly loved him. So, and there's
hmm
nothing wrong with that. I don't think she would change what she did. There'd be
Yeah.
no do-overs,
Well, and it would work opposite in an opposite relationship where the woman might be older and couldn't have kids anymore, didn't want any kids anymore, let's say had them and they were
Yeah.
older, and then she meets a younger man, and then it's like that younger man, as much as you have that talk with your person, it
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean that they are not going to change their mind when you guys get together, like as far as marriage goes. So I mean, you can have that talk and say, I don't want children, but you have to remember, they're way younger than you. Things could change. Like the
And
maturity level again, things could change.
that's funny you say that. I know a girl who married a guy Okay, however many years ago. And they were close in age, just a few years apart, I think. And he was all, yeah, we're gonna have children and stuff. They got married and stuff. He's like, nope.
Oh, wow. See? And then what do you do?
Oh, she divorced him
Yeah, well,
because
you
she
have
didn't love him more than giving up the idea of having children
of
her entire
yes,
life.
right. Well, she then chose what was more important to her. So,
Well, and kudos to her for knowing to do that at a young age instead of
absolutely,
being
before it gets
scared
later.
and being filled, the fear of not being scared to leave it. And then you have that emotional mental toss back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I love him. I don't want to leave him. I
Mm-hmm.
always wanted kids. That back and forth. Am I doing the right thing? And everyone's advice. It's just,
Yeah, I mean,
good,
that's
good for her
yes.
that she figured it out, that she
Didn't wait too
didn't love
long.
him more, that she would be
Yeah.
resentful and angry. Yes.
Was that lady ever resentful because of that? Because he had passed away and she didn't have anyone else or didn't have
Actually,
children?
no, she was not resentful. I never saw her as resentful. She was truly crushed, heartbroken. She
Okay.
struggled with it. Yeah, I mean, she never said, I wish we had children or I married. No, she never. She wanted him back. She wanted more time.
And so then, yeah, her love for him was much more
Hmm.
than her love for having children.
For having children,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we each make our bed. So,
True story.
and yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was
No, that was a
tonight's
good one. Yeah.
question.
That was a good one. I like it. I mean, right now I have a 24-year-old following me around everywhere. And I'm like, dude, like, nothing's ever going to happen, right? Like, God, I'm 51, you're 24. Get a grip. Oh, but I have a great time when I'm with you and I enjoy being with you. We talk and we do. We really do. Like I have never been in a I'm not in a relationship obviously with him because obviously nothing's going to happen. He's way
Well,
too
now
young.
let's stop for a second. I have questions.
Ah,
I I know that you're not looking for a long-term relationship with him, like it could lead to marriage or anything like that. But what about
right.
just a fun relationship, for lack
I
of better
mean,
words?
I don't think I'm ready for that right now. I have a lot on
No.
my plate, and as much as sometimes I'm not going to lie, because sometimes I've had it run through my head, and I'm like, hey, just have fun, go enjoy yourself.
Right.
But then, the age thing kind of clicks in my head, and I'm like for how long? Like, is that really what you want right now?
Well, and that's the
Like,
thing. You have to decide if you're good
yeah,
with 6 weeks, 2 months, 6 months, a year,
yeah,
and it
or a
not,
booty call.
a booty call,
Yeah,
once a
and
month
I don't think
conjugal.
I'm.
I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
I know people who do that stuff. So I just was curious. That's all. Just thought I'd ask.
Well, and
Oh,
we've had this conversation already before. We got to pause for a second.
oh, it's on TV. I thought a
Okay.
baby was screaming bloody
You
murder.
don't
I about
have
had
a you
heart.
don't have a thing? You don't
I do
have
not
a
have a
monitor?
monitor.
Oh
No.
my goodness. Yeah, you
'Cause
need to
typically I'm in the
invest in one
living
of.
room and I hear anything. Ozzy just
Yeah.
opens the door and he's like,
Right,
"Hi."
exactly. Yeah. He's a little different than
Milani.
Milani.
Like, yeah, she can't,
Yeah.
but yeah, so,
Yeah.
he'll
Well,
sleep
and
through anything.
you know that I've already talked to you about this and I probably already discussed it on one of our podcasts, but I
Yeah.
did have someone who I was just seeing cordially. Every once in a while, we'd hook up and I was okay with that at the time. Um, right now, I think I want something a little bit more stable for myself. I don't really think I have the mindset to go back to doing that where I just meet you cordially, we hang out because let me explain something. So he would ask me like, "Do you want to drink?" Like, been there, done that. I don't want to do that again. Like I'm past that. That was when I was in my 20s. I'd go out every weekend with my cousins. We'd have a great time and friends. We'd meet friends out and stuff like that. Like I'm not about that. Like I want to experience other things.
Yeah, I
I
understand.
don't want to do that. And I explained that to him. I explained it to him. I'm like, listen, I said, I know, you like to drink and you're young and whatever and everything. I said, but you have to understand, I'm I'm not saying I'm an old lady, okay, because I'm
Been there,
not.
done that, though.
Yeah, but I've been there, done that.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to go backward.
no,
I'm trying to move forward,
yeah,
and it's like he doesn't seem to understand that. But him and I, though, when he's sitting down and everything, and I think I've known him for, I don't know, 7 years now. 7? How old was he when we met? I think he was 18 when I met him. And we have been taught, it is 7 years. That's right. Because he will be 25 next month.
shut up.
So, yes. So it has been 7 years. And him and I, ever since I did meet him, to me, he seemed like he's not mature. I'll tell you that 100%. But in his mind, he has thoughts like he would talk to me. I'm like his confidant. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And we seem to click in that kind of a manner.
yeah,
I could tell him stuff, he could tell me stuff.
gotcha.
But then there's times where we'll be sitting there talking and just mush comes out of his mouth. And I'm like, can we change the subject? Like, you've been rattling on the same thing for over an hour. Like, I'm done.
Yeah,
And I won't shut up about it. Like, I'll tell him, can we just change the subject? Like,
yeah,
talk about something else. And then
yeah,
he'll find something else to talk about. But it seems like I could be more open about my feelings and things like that to him.
yeah,
And he'll have a response back as well to me. And he opens up about different relationships that he's had too in his life and would ask me, like, what do I
his
think and
short
things
young
like
life
that.
he's had.
His short, yeah, exactly. His short young life. But
Yeah,
I just, I think I want more out of a relationship right now. I don't think I'm to that point where I just want to do fun. You know, Fun is great, but in a different way.
well,
you know,
definitely. And I think as we get older, that's the problem too. It's like I look at these guys, all different ages, older, same age as me, a few years younger, and I just like the maturity of some of them. I don't want to redo any of that.
no,
I don't want to deal
exactly.
with it. It's unattractive.
It is unattractive. And that's why I said I don't want to go
No,
backwards.
I'm
I want to
not
go forward.
perfect. Am I always mature? No. I was roller skating with my coworker in the clinic Friday.
Right. But that's something that you enjoy to do. That's a
Well, it's
different, you did
exercise,
it
and we
before.
knew we weren't allowed, and it'd probably be a liability. So, why not? Again, a little immature, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's
We had a good
fun. It's
time.
something that you enjoy to do. And,
Yeah,
sometimes it's not all about the bedroom, you
you
know,
know.
it's really
No,
not.
it's not. No,
It's not all about the bedroom. If
it
that's
should
what you
not
want,
be.
more power to you. But if that's not it, and move on, move forward. So,
Yeah. Yeah, you got to
yeah,
move forward.
yeah.
It's just interesting to hear what everyone
Different
has to say.
perspectives. Yeah.
I mean, some
Yeah,
people
to
handle
each
certain
his
things
own.
better. Yeah, whatever floats your boat.
To each his own. But
No
just,
one's
think.
criticizing, no one's saying, anything negative. We were just curious. And I'm
Hmm.
sorry, but if you marry someone 20 to 30 years older than you, most likely you're going to be doing some kind of caregiving at some point.
Right. So think about that hard and make
Not
sure that that's
saying it
what you
won't be
want.
you. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
anything can
Make
happen to
sure that
anyone at
that's
any
something
time,
you
but
want. Hmm.
that you can live with that decision. That's all. And not be
Absolutely.
resentful because, he did ask and you had an opportunity to say no. So,
Correct. Exactly. Yeah.
that's about
Yeah.
it.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to us as always. We appreciate each and every one of you. Um, if you guys want to say something or have us talk about some subject, go ahead and leave it down in the comments. Char will get back to you. We also have a email address also, and she will be glad to answer that too as well. Give us some feedback. Yeah, give us some feedback. Let us know how we're doing. We like to hear if any feedback is good. Just don't be brutal. That's all. Be nice with your
Yeah.
feedback.
Yeah, be
Other than
nice.
that, yeah, I'll turn it over to you.
Hello. I don't even know what to do with myself sometimes. Anyway, so you can find us on Spotify, Amazon, Samsung, Podcast Index, Listen Notes, Apple, Google, Pandora, TuneIn, iHeart, Deezer. You can email at girlfriendminute23@gmail.com. We are TikToking, we are Facebooking, we're Instagramming, we are on Patreon. Did I get them all?
YouTubing.
YouTubing. I almost got them
Yes.
all.
Yes. Yes.
And YouTubing.
And YouTubing.
I need to catch up the podcasts on there, and I throw in a lot of personal pictures for traffic and stuff. So, Pascal, you have to send me something at some point. But anyways,
Oh, definitely, I will.
so that is where you can find us. You can message us on any of those platforms, and I will find it and I will get back to you. And we're always looking for suggestions.
Yes, absolutely.
That's about it. Do you
All
believe it
right.
is 11:47?
Oh my gosh, I know. We didn't turn into a pumpkin. We didn't hit midnight.
We have not hit midnight yet.
No, this is the first in a long time.
It's the first in a long time.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
kind of like
great.
it. I'm going to the
I
home show with
do.
my friend Kathy tomorrow, so I'm excited.
Oh, very good.
Just to get out of the house. We just want to get out of the house. Her husband never wants to go, and she doesn't really want to take him, so I'm going.
There you go. Why not? Have at it.
Yeah,
That'll be
so
that'll be fun tomorrow.
it
Yeah.
will be. I haven't been in a long, long time, and I like looking at stuff. I'm not doing anything, not spending any money. Last time I went there, though, I bought a Vitamix blender. Back before you could buy
Yes.
them at Target and all the places you can buy them now, and it was a $400 blender. I probably had it 18, 20 years. I don't know. Thing's a
Yeah, they're
workhorse.
really good.
Yeah,
They're
it
really
works
good.
like it did.
Vitamix are really good.
Yeah, it works the same it did the first day I plugged it in. So,
Awesome.
and I
Awesome.
use it pretty much every day.
Yeah, that's great.
So,
That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. So, other than
Okay.
that, you have a wonderful weekend, my dear.
Thank you too, and enjoy your Labor Day. Happy Labor Day to everyone out there.
Yes, happy Labor Day. I'm gonna go jet skiing in theory,
Okay.
weather permitting.
Yes.
Stay
Hopefully.
tuned.
Yes.
Stay tuned. Yes. And you have a wonderful rest of your night.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.